Hey, so welcome back, guys. So, oh god, yeah. Unfortunately, I had to. Hopefully, you can't hear it, but I had to turn on my ventilation fan in my bathroom. Apparently, my neighbors next door are smoking pot again, or I assume that's what pot smells like. I mean, I've never smoked pot, so I swear. But anyway, shit, what was I doing? Oh, right. So Constellars. So yeah, actually, I wanted to bring you this deck today, revolving around Constellars, because it's. Oh my gosh, Constellars are so cool! Okay, so when I originally started running Constellars back in April, when right before the release of Hidden Arsenal 7, I was like, okay, maybe Constellars aren't so bad, because I know people were trying to get into Evil Swarms. Honestly, I've run into one Evil Swarm deck and I killed him with Dragoonities, so I don't know what potential Evil Swarms really have. I heard that they're good, but I don't see them hurting anyone, so I honestly can't tell. But anyway, so Constellars I actually did want to try out, because I do own like 2 Polluxes, I think, 1 Cost, 2 of these Sheratons, and 1 Pleiades. But I don't own the rest of them, so I was like, oh, actually I do own Star Chart. But anyway, so I was like, maybe I'll make my own. Nope! Fucking Ptolemy, you have to run 3 of Ptolemy in this fucking deck. And he is a $20 card, so goodbye! But yeah, so essentially what the whole reason why I even liked this deck was because of this guy right here, Constellar Omega. He is so good! Like, he is so broken! He's a trigger effect and an ignition effect. So you can activate him. Activate his effect to make all of your Constellar monsters at any time that you want unaffected. But I don't know why you would do that. Just use his ability as a trigger effect, because if they activate Mirror Force during the battle phase, you can chain his effect. Detach an XYZ material, and then make all of your Constellars unaffected at that point. So why do it until you absolutely have to? Because they might read it and not activate Mirror Force because of that, and then you just wasted your XYZ material. Don't do it until absolutely necessary. But also, he can detach, make him invulnerable to a compulsory evacuation device, breakthrough skill. I'm pretty sure that, well, I'm not sure how that would work out. If they chain breakthrough skill to the activation, I guess that it would negate his ability. If you activate Constellar Omega and then they chain breakthrough skill to that. I haven't really tested that out, but I know that if you break through skill Big Eye still can't attack, because this breakthrough skill does negate the effect, not the activation of the effect. And if you actually read Big Eye, it says, so this card cannot attack the turn you activate this effect. It didn't say anything about the effect resolving. If you activated it, period. And breakthrough skill doesn't negate the activation, it just negates the effect. So, you just got doubly screwed, bitch! Anyway, so the whole reason that I have this synergy of, like, Fire Fist, Flaming Dances, and Constellars is because it actually makes for a really solid build. I run 3 bears. Why? Because I've got lions and tigers, and no, I'm just kidding. I run 3 bears because he's really good for being able to, like, take one of your useless... I mean, they're not useless until after you've activated it. Either Tenki or Tensu. It is Tensu, right? Yeah, Tensu. And then you can actually use it to, like, destroy one of their monsters. So a lot of the times, I'm bouncing back their monsters to their hand, either with Ptolemy or with Pleiades. But with Bear on the field, I can actually just send them to the grave, so that way they don't come back. Which is really nice. Plus, I run the Tensus and the Tenkis because, first of all, one of the most important guys in this deck is Constellar Cost. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Constellar Cost. And he's a Beast Warrior, so he's a target for both Tensu and Tenki. Tenki brings him to your hand, which is good, or he can bring a bear to your hand, either one. I don't know who would want to hold a bear in their hand, but apparently I do. And also, then you can perform an additional normal summon on top of your regular normal summon with Tensu, which is really good. Because you can already perform additional normal summons because of, well, actually, I don't even know how you pronounce this. I'm going to say Alg. I'm going to nickname this guy Aug. How about that? He actually special summons. He doesn't do an additional normal summon. But Pollux does do additional normal summons. So you could normal summon another Constellar and then activate Tensu and then do an additional normal summon like Bear or another cost or something. Doesn't really matter. But it's really good for that. So that's the reason why I've got the Tenki and the Tensus in here. So the reason why I have 3 costs is because I do have targets like Tenki or I do have cards that target him or her or it, like Tenki and Tensu, or actually reverse Tenki and Tensu, because it is Beast Warrior, so it's extremely good for that reason. Also, this is the main card that you're going to use to go into this badass motherfucker, Constellar Pleiades. This guy is so good. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you can you can detach an XYZ material from this card to target one card, not one monster, one card on the field. Return it to the hand. Return that target to the hand. Ptolemy only is during your turn, and it only allows you to target a monster on the field or in the graveyard and return it to the hand. Pleiades does any card and during either player's turn. There's actually a meme that I saw on not on YouTube, on Google Images. That's like, oh, really? It had a picture of Ptolemy versus Pleiades, and it's like, oh, really? You think Ptolemy's better than Pleiades? Okay, well, when Ptolemy can stop a shooting Quasar Dragon from being summoned, you can come talk to me. Because essentially, a Pleiades can stop a shooting Quasar Dragon from being summoned, because you just take one of those synchro monsters that he's going to have to use to sync it up, and you just return it back to the extra deck before it ever gets to hit the field. Which is the reason why whenever I'm facing Constellars and I'm running my Lava Quasar deck, I do not want Pleiades to hit the field. Because as soon as I do Rekindling and start trying to make shit, he's just going to foil my plan by returning something back to the extra deck. Which is really bad. I don't like that at all. But that's the reason why that guy is so fucking good. And that's how you get him out, is with cost. So cost is a level 4, but his ability is, this card cannot be used as a synchro material monster. Who cares? You can target one Constellar monster on the field, activate one of these effects, but you can do it up to twice per turn. So you can either increase its level by 1 or reduce its level by 1. As you can see, I don't have any of the rank 3 Constellar monsters. Or actually, it's just Monster. It's Pleiades or something. He's not that great. So obviously, you're going to be using Cost's effect to up it by 1. So up cost by 1, and more than likely what you did was you summoned a Constellar Pollux. Additional normal summoned Constellar cost. Use cost effect to pump cost up by 1 and pump Pollux up by 1. Go into Pleiades. Now technically you could use cost and Pollux to go into an Omega, but you could do that just with Constellar Algedi, or however you pronounce his name, and a Pollux and a Sombris or something like that. So why? I mean, just go into the better guy. I mean, Omega is good, but Pleiades is something amazing. So when you get the chance, use Cost's ability to go into a rank 5. Obviously, I'm going to have to split this up into 2 videos because I can already see this one going over 30 minutes. So, for the love of all humanity, we're going to need to split this up. So that way I stay sane, you stay sane, and you don't get bored, essentially. Anyway, so that's the reason why you run 3 costs. It's really good. Constellar Pollux, you have to run 3 Pollux. You have to. This is the main guy right here, because first of all, he is searchable with my 1 reinforcement of the army, because this guy is just absolutely necessary. He allows you to do an additional normal summon of any other Constellar monster. Doesn't have to be level 4, doesn't have to be any level. You only gain his effect once per turn, but I mean, he's hard enough to get to your hand. He's not hard to get to your hand, but it's rare that you'll get 2 Polluxes in your hand, so you can't activate his effect twice. But you can use him, and then, like I was saying, extra normal summon Constellar Aug. I'm going to just call him Aug, remember. And then Constellar Aug says, when this card is normal summon, you can special summon 1 level. So then you can special summon Kos or Sombris. And that's perfect, because then Sombris' effect says you can banish a Constellar monster in your graveyard to target 1 Constellar monster in your graveyard. Add that target to your hand. And then, if you activated that effect, you can only use it once per turn during your main phase. But if you activate that effect, then you can perform an additional normal summon of that Constellar monster that you just returned back, You can normal summon one Constellar oh, so it doesn't even have to be that one Constellar monster. But it does say you can normal summon one Constellar monster in addition to your normal summon. So that's Pollux, Aug, Sombriz, and then like a Koss or something. So you now have 4 monsters on your field. You can make a rank 4 and a rank 5. So you've got an Omega, so your opponent can't touch you with shit like Mirror Force or Compulsory Evacuation Device. Well, I mean, obviously, once Omega hits the field, then Compulsory Evacuation Device won't be able to touch you. But mainly stuff like first turn, at least, Dimensional Prison and Mirror Force type of stuff. And you have Pleiades, so you can start bouncing back monsters, traps, whatevers, which is really good. So this deck has some great synergy going on here. So that's the reason why Pollux is so important. Aug, because the only reason why I run 2 of them is because it does specify level 4 Constellar monster, which is not always the case because I do have Sheraton's really good Sheraton. I really like Sheraton, and Sket or Siet is how the TCG version of him is. Siet? I'm going to just call him Siet. How about that? I don't know how he's pronounced, but it's this little dude with a giant vase above his head, essentially. He's really good too. I'll get into him in a little bit. But yeah, so that's the reason why I only have the 2 of Augs, because I do have 9 targets for him, but you don't want to have too many of Augs in your hand because then they just clog up your hand pretty much. And notice that his effect special summons that level 4 Constellar monster, not normal summons it. So you couldn't, like... So if you try to special summon another Aug, you couldn't use his effect again because that was a special summon, not an additional normal summon. Unlike Pollux. That's the great thing about Pollux, though. So anyway, moving on. So I've got 3 bears. I already told you why. First of all, he's really good because if he does actually inflict battle damage, then you get to take one of your Flaming Dance spell cards from your deck, set it. Well, I hope that wasn't too loud. Main phase 2. Flip it up, activate it if you want. I mean, you don't have to, but the possibility is there. I'm just saying. And then, you know, you're good for next turn, because then you can activate it next turn if you want for either an additional normal summon or add a Beast Warrior to your hand, depending on which one you add from your deck. And then you can bust it for Bear's effect and destroy a monster on your opponent's side of the field. It's just so great to run 3 bears. That's the reason why this guy is so damn expensive. At least he was. I don't know if he still is. I'm sure he still is, though. But he's really good. Unfortunately, he can be bottomless, which I don't like. But, you know, whatever. Can't get everything, otherwise they'd be too overpowered, I suppose. But, Koss and Bear are the main targets, or the only targets, rather, for my Flaming Dances. So, yeah. Now, Sombriz right here. I missed this guy the first time I ever made a Constellar deck. I did not see this guy. Because when someone used Constellar deck against me and they played Sombriz, I'm like, whoa, that shit's amazing. So yeah, it turns out that this guy really helps this deck work out. Because first of all, not only is it a target for Aug, and also is really good if you combine it with Pollux to make stuff like Omega, but his effect in itself is good. Being able to banish a Constellar monster that you probably can't use ever again, like a Sheraton or an Aug, and then add one of the Constellar monsters that's in your graveyard to your hand, and then if you did that, you can then perform an additional normal summon on top of any other additional normal summons that you just did. That's fucking amazing. You're talking about being able to do maybe 2 rather than just 1 Exceed summon this turn. So that's just amazing. Also, you normal summon... Oh, fuck. Hold on. You can normal summon 1 Constellar monster in addition, right? Once during the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can tribute 1 considered with 1 less tribute than required. Oh, okay. So his last effect is about tribute summoning Constellars, but obviously you see all my cards in my main deck are able to hit the field as soon as they come to my hand because they're level 4 or lower. There are those Constellar monsters that are like level 6 and level 5, but I don't even touch them. If I want to make my rank 5s, I use Koss. If I want to make my rank 6, well, I'll talk about how I make Constellar Ptolemy later. Honest, this guy is really good. He helps save your Constellar monsters so many times when your opponent, oh, I'm going to be a little bitch and summon Stardust and attack over your shit. Bitch! Honest just bitch slapped you and you got destroyed. Yeah. Constellars are all light, so the only non-light monster that I've even got in my deck is Bear. And most of my deck even is, or my extra deck is light. Utopia, all my Constellars. Of course, why is Zenmane's fire? I don't know. I do have the Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Tiger King. I haven't used him yet. I haven't had the need to. But I thought that he might be pretty cool if I did have 2 bears. Because the only thing that Bear can make with a Constellar monster is Utopia. So, yeah. So it was very limited. That's the reason why I actually have Utopia in there. Because the rest of them either require 2 light monsters or 2... No, actually, none of them require 2 Constellar monsters. They're all... Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, Beehive or Prasepi. I'm not sure what this TCG's guy's name is. He does require 2 level 4 Constellar monsters. Chances are, if I'm making ranks, it's going to be from Constellars. But there's always the chance that I've got Bear on my side of the field. So that's always good. But, you know, if I do end up with 2 bears on my side of the field, then, you know, lions, tigers, and bears, they get along. So you sacrifice 2 bears for a tiger, pretty much. That's pretty good, right? Plus, his ability is pretty good, because when he's XYZ summoned, you get to bring another Fire Formation card from your... Wait. Okay, it's Fire Formation Tenki. Yeah, I was saying Flaming Dance all this time, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right. I don't remember people saying Flaming Dance. It's because in TCG, it's Fire Formation. That's why. Phew! Glad I cleared that one up before people leave angry comments. It's like, what the fuck? Don't you do your research? Yeah, sort of. Anyway, so also he can detach. Well, hold on. I haven't even gotten to the extra deck yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, so that's Honest, right? Sheraton is pretty good. I have ended up with 2 Sheratons on my side of the field before, and I wish I could have went into a Zenmane's. Because after I've summoned Sheraton, then that's it, pretty much. I mean, yeah, I get to add a Constellar monster from my deck to my hand. So in a way, it is a searcher. So I wouldn't need, like, perhaps Tenki to get cost or Reinforcement to get Pollux. I could add any of them if I wanted to with Sheraton. But it's very... Unfortunately, look at his attack versus his defense. He's got 700 attack and 1900 defense. That's a little bit of a problem. I wish it was the other way around, but otherwise he'd be overpowered, I guess. So, sometimes I do normal summon him first turn and activate his effect. That way, next turn I can start making magic happen. But I've sort of left myself out in the open because of that. So that's the reason why I do run a little more trap support in this deck than most other decks. But Sheraton is definitely good. Searching is definitely necessary, and very few decks OTK these days, so I'm not really scared. So yeah. Siet. Oh god, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. This dude right here. Let's put it that way. This guy is really good. I would not run a 1-for-1 just because of this guy, but he's just so good. First of all, if your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, special summon this guy from your hand. It's like an unknown synchron. It's just really good. Because that does happen a lot of times, especially if you top deck this guy and your opponent just went first. Excuse me. Also, if you're down or out of your luck, or what is the you're down on your luck. That's what it's called. You're down on your luck, and you need some shit to happen. Summon this baby, because what can happen is he's your special summon, right? Then you can normal summon Constellar Pollux, or any of them, really. Normal summon Constellar Pollux, and then additional normal summon a cost or something. Or, let's say, at the very least, you would special summon him, normal summon Sombrus, but then you could activate Sombrus' effect and do another normal summon. I mean, there's just so much shit that can happen. It's so good. But the main reason why I like this guy is because his special summon effect is pretty good. But the other thing is I can target one Constellar monster either in my grave or on my field and copy its level. Are you kidding me? Copy its level? Don't mind if I do! Because first of all, here's one of the combos that I actually tried to do once. So, I normal summon Constellar Pollux, right? Then I normal summon, hold on, what was the effect? So I special summon this guy, right? Then I normal summon Pollux. Then I normal summoned something else. I can't remember. But essentially, I bumped Sheraton's level up by 1, and I bumped Koss's level up to 5. I took Pollux and I took Sheraton, went into an Omega. Now, Koss is at 5, and there's no other level 5 on my side of the field, but because I already had this guy on my field, I can now copy Koss's level and make a rank 5 just like that. Just because I had a Sheraton, just like that, I now have a Pleiades and an Omega, and shit be banging, yo. Oh my gosh. That is extremely good. You have to run 3 of these guys, because his free summon, if you're down on your luck, or his ability to copy a level from either your deck, or, not from your deck, either from your graveyard or on your field, that's just too good to pass up. Really is. So what time am I at right now? Okay. Not bad. I won't be able to start my duels until next time for sure. But goddammit, get out of the way. There you go. So, Holy Trinity, Dark Hole, Monster Reborn, Heavy Storm. It's really good. Heavy Storm just to clear out that nasty back row sometimes. Reinforcement, I already told you, it's just for Pollux. That's the only reason why I even have it in here, because Pollux is just so damn necessary. Having a reinforcement in here is like having a 4th Pollux almost. But that's the rest of them that, yeah, see, that is the one thing that is so weird about Constellars. They're so mixed up. Some of them were beasts, some of them were warriors, some of them were beast warriors, and the others are fairies. Oh, except for Ptolemy. He's a fucking machine. I mean, he does look like a machine, but why do you have to be so different? Oh, actually, Beehive also is, or Praesepia, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name. He's also a machine, apparently. But anyway, so that's the reason why. 2 MST, because you know I hate back row. Gotta hate back row. Get rid of that fucking back row. That's also the reason why I've got Pleiades to help get rid of that back row sometimes. That's the reason why I have Omega, because that back row becomes essentially useless, which is good. I like it. 2 5 formation Tensus, because this card is really good. If you end up having a Koss or a Bear in your hand, and you want to perform an additional normal summon on top of your already normal summons or special summons, you can do it. I mean, yeah, all your Beast type warriors get, or Beast warrior types get 100 bonus attack, but I think I may have used that once to my advantage, but mainly I'm trying to bust the card for Bear's effect, because his effect is just so good. It really is. Especially if that clears the way, so that way he can inflict damage. Baby, bring another one from your deck to the field and wait till next turn. It's just so good. Constellar Star Chart. So I run 2 of these, not 3, not 1, 2. This card is pretty good. I've top decked it a few times, and it's always good to have it at the beginning of a match, because as soon as you start making your XYZ material, or your XYZ monsters, you get to start drawing cards because of it. Now, it is a once per turn type deal, unfortunately, otherwise it'd be broken. But, like, first turn you activate it, first turn you go into either Pleiades or an Omega, draw a card that helps keep up your hand advantage, because it's a +1. Well, sort of. It can turn into a +1 because it is continuous. So, it is a secret rare, but apparently it's really cheap. So yeah, but 2 of them is really good. Even when you summon Ptolemy through his own effect, and I'll show you later, that still counts as a Constellar XYZ monster being special summoned, so you still get to draw a card for that, which is really good. Keeps up your hand advantage. There'd be no reason not to play this card, pretty much. I mean, in a Constellar deck, anyway. So, 3 Tenkies. Why? Because it helps get your... So, with Reinforcement and 3 Polluxes, good chance you'll get a Pollux in your hand. With Tenki and 3 Koss, good chance you'll get a Koss in your hand. First turn Pleiades or something like that. Like, you want to make Pleiades as often as possible. I was only running 2 Pleiades, but this guy's just so good, you need to run 3. This guy, he will make it worth it to like... So, I used to have 2 Praesepies. I think that's how you pronounce it, like I've said. Don't be a grammar Nazi on me, please. I used to have 2 of these guys, and I'm like, you know what? I just gotta run 3 Pleiades. I'll sacrifice it. I rarely ever summon Praesepi, but I mainly go into Omega if I'm doing a rank 4. But, you know, Praesepi does have his advantages. But anyway. So that's why I have Fire Formation Tenki. 2 Bottomless Trapples. Why? Because it's Bottomless Trapple. It stops that motherfucker. What's her name? High Priestess of Prophecy. Stops her. I mean, she can't be solemn judgmented, right? And there'd be no point in compulsory evacuation devicing her. I can't believe I somehow turned that card's name into a verb, but I did. Anyway, there'd be no reason to send her back to her hand because she would just special summon herself right back. So you might as well get rid of her through a bottomless trap hole. And I don't want to blow up all my field too, because although actually I'm going to think about that, running a torrential tribute, because I can activate Omega's effect during my opponent's turn as well. So I could actually protect all my Constellar monsters from my own torrential tribute if I wanted to. So just keep that in mind. That's pretty good. Oh yeah, I forgot torrential tribute's at 2, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, so one of the things that this deck is really good about is protecting itself because of Omega from spells and traps. But you'll run into these things called monster effects. That's bad. So you do actually have to run 2. I run 2 breakthrough skills because I don't want to run 3. And you need 2 for consistency's sake at least. So unlike Valor, this can be activated during your opponent's turn, except for if it's in the grave. Then it becomes a Valor. Because you banish this card from your graveyard to target one face-up. It says during your turn, except this turn that the card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard to do the exact same thing that it did when it was set. Negate the effect of one monster on your opponent's side of the field until the end of the turn. So, the first time that you activate it when it's set, it can be during either player's turn. But the second time, it has to be during your own main phase. So, it's a little less effective after it's already been used the first time. But it can still prove to be effective. I mean, for fuck's sake, it can negate a Pleiades. So that's good. And because it's in the graveyard, it's not like it can MST'd after it's already been activated the first time. So you can banish it from the graveyard to do it. So that's always good. And I always say it's good, but that's because it's always good. Anyway, so 2 Compulse, because we all know how annoying those big eyes are. Those big eye motherfuckers. We want to get rid of them. Yes, we do. We also want to get rid of them fucking Drago Sacks. Or Stardust Dragons. I don't know. Whatever. We need to get rid of those monsters that are stronger than we are. So that is one of the things about this deck is it's not as strong of a monster deck as you'd like. But Pleiades is just so fucking good with returning shit back to the hand anyway. Who cares? I mean, I guess if they summon an Obelisk, I'm fucking screwed. But I'll think of a way to get around that, honestly. And then Solemn Judgment, my one card that is my... I mean, how many cards can stop a Solemn Judgment? I mean, yeah, Dark Bribe, all of this other shit. Trap Jammer. Well, it depends on when Trap Jammer is activated. But anyway, so, I mean, Solemn Judgment is my one safe card where I can pretty well depend on it at any time. To stop any annoying shit like they have, like it can negate a Solemn Warning. I like that. I really like that, in fact. So, yeah. So that's my main deck. I hope you like those 40 cards. These are the 40 cards of doom for your opponent, not for you. So it's really good. Oh, man, I love it. So before I do my extra deck, let me do my side deck real quick. What am I at? Okay, I'm getting very close. So the reason why I've got 3 Imperial Iron Walls, I think most people are siding this in now. Oh, God. Just hit my computer. Or kicked it, rather. The reason why a lot of people are now siding in 3 Imperial Iron Walls is because Elemental Dragons. Yeah. That's the only reason why I can think. Yeah, Elemental Dragons. So, you're unaffected by spells and traps. Who the fuck cares if your monster has, or if your opponent has Elemental Dragons? Those monsters bank off of the ability to ban shit. Or, not ban shit. Banish shit. So, Imperial Iron Wall, cards cannot be removed from play. Simple as that. You just destroyed Sword of the 7 Stars, you just destroyed Gold Sarcophagus, you just destroyed their monster effects. Get rid of that shit, ya man. So what would I side out? Obviously the 2 breakthrough skills, since all of the monster effects are essentially being replaced by the Imperial Iron Wall anyway. Get rid of 2 breakthrough skills, and I'd probably get rid of 1 of the tankies. Just because 3 tankies is good, but 2 isn't that bad either. So that's what I would side in. I don't know about Torrential Tribute. I'd probably trade out one of the bottomless trap holes if I did that. This deck is still early in development. It's like a cocoon. I'm still testing it, you know? It's not fully hatched yet. But anyway, so I'm still testing it. I really like it. It really works well. It works wonders. I haven't lost a single duel with it yet, but I've only dueled 6 times. But yeah. So well, let's get into him later. So the reason, actually, let's start from over here. So Zen mains. Why? Because I've got 2 Sheratons. That's it. Like I was telling you, brother, the Tiger King motherfucker. So he's really good. His ability. Once per turn, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card. Negate the effects of all face-up effect monsters currently on the field except Beast Warrior types. So essentially, you're just looking at him. Or actually, hold on. Who else is a Beast Warrior? Omega is also a Beast Warrior. That's cool. Unfortunately, Pleiades is a warrior. But, yeah, oh, so Omega is also. God damn, Omega looks like a fucking centaur. So Tiger King, yeah, so detach to negate the effects of all face-up effect monsters currently on the field, except Beast Warrior types, until the end of your opponent's turn. So, not until the end of your turn, until the end of your opponent's turn. When this card is sent from the field to the grave. So, I guess monsters currently on the field. So, if they summon new monsters, then their effects aren't negated, unfortunately. When this card is sent from the field to the grave, you can send 3 face-up fire from it. Yeah, like that's ever going to happen. To special summon 2 level 4. What? Yeah, okay. I doubt I'll ever use his last effect. I mean, this isn't a Fire Fist deck. So, but yeah, anyway. So he's really good for that ability. He's got 2200 attack. That's not bad. That's pretty good. I just like him because if I do have 2 bears on my side of the field, I'd rather go into this guy rather than a Utopia, to be honest. So yeah. Okay, so moving on to Omegas. You've got to run 3 Omegas. Why? Because it's just like I was talking about Pleiades. This guy is just so freaking worth it to make. If you get the chance to make Pleiades, make Pleiades. But if you don't, and you can only make Omega, for the love of God, make Omega. Because he makes all your other monsters, if you first turn summon Omega, and your opponent then goes, you've just made all of your Constellar monsters invulnerable to Torrential Tribute, Bottomless Trap Hole, Compulsory Evacuation Device, Mirror Force, Dimensional Prison, Breakthrough Skill, you know, shit like that, I suppose. Yeah, so it's just so freaking good, yeah. So plus he's not bad, attack 2400. He can be activated during either turn. He makes them invulnerable to Dark Hole. He makes them invulnerable to, I don't know, hammer shots? I don't know why you would even consider that. But who runs hammer shots? I don't know. But he's really good for that ability. So, Praesepe. Now, this is the one that does actually require 2 level 4 Constellar monsters. So you can't use Honest. I don't ever use Honest for rank my XYZ monsters. But Bear can't be used for it, obviously. You would actually have to use your Constellar monsters, which is completely fine, because that's what I normally do anyway. But he's pretty good. He's also got 2400 attack. Once per turn during either player's damage step, when a Constellar monster, any Constellar monster you control battles, you can detach 1 XYZ material. That monster gains at 1000 attack until the end phase. So it's sort of like a mini Honest. It can be activated during either player's turn when either one attacks, and it doesn't just have to be him. It can be your Pleiades, or your Ptolemy, or your Omega. See what I'm saying? Not just him. That's the reason why it's really good. Now, he does have only 800 defense, so that's kind of shitty. Oh my gosh, all of their defenses actually are kind of shitty. Well, at least the rank 4s are. Pleiades doesn't have that bad of a defense, I suppose. Anyway, so Utopia, why? Because he's my alternative to where if I only have 1 Constellar monster on my side of the field and I've got a bear, then the only thing that I could make is a Utopia. And that would only happen once. I'm not going to make more than 1 Utopia. He's got 2500 attack, which is pretty good, but really it's only as a last resort type of deal, because he does negate attacks, which is good. You can negate target you can just negate the attack. Yeah, so I mean you can negate powerful stuff that you don't like Stardust, strong shit. I can't think of many examples. I always try to think of Obelisk, but I think that this targets, so I don't think you can do that. Pleiades. So this is your heavy hitter right here. This is one of the few Constellar monsters that I actually use up all of his XYZ materials. Omega, usually the best that I do is I leave him at just 1 XYZ material, because my opponent sees that there's no point in activating his Mirror Forces or whatnot, even though technically he should waste his Mirror Force, because that way it wastes an XYZ material, but not all of them are very smart that I face. So, Pleiades, I mean, this is just so good. It's like a compulsory evacuation device for any card. and you can activate it at any time during either player's turn. And it's also a trigger and an ignition effect. So your opponent summons something, it goes right back. Your opponent activates, fuck, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example. It could be anything. They activate an MST, and you decide to, nope, I'm going to send back your lackluster soldier. Or, for instance, if you had a monster or a spell card on your opponent's side of the field that was racking up spell counters, all of a sudden you send it back to their hand. Bitch, that just got wiped clean. So it's also good for that type of stuff. Also use him to clear back row sometimes when I want to get rid of that back row to inflict some damage and I don't have an MST or a heavy storm. But once he's been used up, once any of my Constellar monsters have had all their XYZ materials depleted, then Ptolemy hits the field. Now, he doesn't have any limiting conditions for how to summon him. 2 level 6 monsters, any level 6 monsters. Well, notice I don't have any level 6 monsters, so I have to use his second ability. His second ability is, you can also XYZ summon this card by using one face-up Constellar XYZ monster you control as the XYZ material, except for, of course, Ptolemy. But if Ptolemy is depleted, that's why I have Gaia Dragon. But anyway, XYZ materials attached to that monster also become the XYZ materials of this card, of course. That applies to any card that does this. You cannot activate this card's effect the turn you special summon this card this way. That is the only downside. So if you did have a Pleiades and you overlaid your Ptolemy on top of your Pleiades, you would draw a card because of Star Chart, because that is still an XYZ special summon. But you can't activate his effect to detach Pleiades to send one of your opponent's monsters back. So what I usually try to do is I will use up Pleiades' effect, and during like main phase 2 or something, overlay for Ptolemy, since obviously Pleiades has been depleted. Because I can't activate Ptolemy's effect this turn anyway. I'll just wait till next turn. And then I'll detach Pleiades and activate Ptolemy's effect. But you have 3 of them. Why? Because you have 7 targets, essentially. It's really good. I always end up using at least one of my Ptolemies every game, and sometimes even 2. Now, 3 is just in case if this is a game that's dragging on and on and on, and I need that extra advantage. But once once he's the only card, no more materials underneath of him on your field, then he's essentially dead. I mean, yeah, he's 2700 attack, but why don't you actually do something with him? For instance, you can also Gaia Dragon. You can also XYZ summon this card by using a rank 5 or rank 6 XYZ monster you control as the XYZ material. So if this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent, that's pretty good. Yeah, I think I'll take that over Ptolemy. I mean, you do go down by 100 attack points, but to be able to inflict piercing damage onto a Marshmallow, that means that I take 1000 damage from the Marshmallow, but my opponent takes 2100 damage. So fuck you, burn deck. And so that's pretty much my entire deck, my entire extra deck. Wow. Okay. So yeah. So that's pretty much it. I hope you all learned something from that. And actually, I can't believe I did that early. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to actually get onto the dueling section of this next time. So that way we can actually see some duels. How about that? So yeah, so thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you all in the next video in part 2. See ya.